All right, this is 49ers Talk, brought to you by Big O Tires. This is the perfect time to give your car, truck, or SUV the TLC it needs. Set an appointment at bigotires.com and drive away knowing you got the best deal on the road with the team you trust, Big O Tires. All right, I'm Matt. She's Jennifer, and it is Monday Night Football. This is the first, what I consider the first real primetime game, right? They play that Thursday night game,
right.
but that doesn't even really go to the full nation because you have to have certain
streaming
stuff going on. So this one, I got to admit, Jennifer, when the schedule came out, I saw 49ers and Panthers Monday Night Football.
I remember your reaction.
I was like, what the heck is this?
And now
it's,
apparently the league knows what it's doing, just kind of like how Vegas knows what it's doing most of the time.
The league writes the script.
No, is that what's going on? Okay, yeah.
They were like, oh, now the Panthers are going to be this record.
They're going to be,
do you
fighting
think,
for a playoff spot.
Do you really think the NFL was thinking, the Christian McCaffrey revenge game?
They could have been. I don't know why they would put it necessarily on a Monday night, but it is what it is. And we're going to see the Niners and the Carolina Panthers for the first time. It's crazy that this is the first time the two teams have met since Christian McCaffrey came from Carolina. Obviously the big kind of debut of Christian McCaffrey was the 3-touchdown game in Los Angeles versus the Rams, a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. That was like his huge debut. But I also remember a half of a season later talking to former GM Carolina Panthers,
Scott Fitterer.
Yes, at the NFL annual meetings. And I had kind of asked him about how Christian McCaffrey was going to fit into the 49ers offense. And he thought, man, it is just going to be such a great fit for him. It's going to be, you're going to see him blossom, and not that he didn't before, but really see what his potential is. And I think Kyle Shanahan has really tapped into that, and we've seen it for the past 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, that trade created shockwaves around the NFL. And
do you remember where you were when you heard the news?
I was at home. It's not like a moon landing kind of thing for me. I'm trying to think what I was doing.
I didn't believe it. When I kind of first heard it, I was like, no way.
Didn't it happen on a Thursday night?
And then he played on Sunday.
Yeah, and then he played against the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, played like 20 snaps or a couple dozen snaps. I don't remember specifically, but I remember thinking, because there was some talk like, are the Panthers really going to trade Christian McCaffrey? And the thing that I was thinking at that point was, I don't know if they need him. What would it cost to get him? And the cost was really high. It was a 2nd-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, and a 4th-round pick in the 2023 draft, as well as a 5th-round pick in the 2024 draft.
Right.
And what's interesting too is that we'll see obviously McCaffrey, big part of the 49ers offense, and the Panthers were able to use that 2nd-round pick that they got from the 49ers to move up to number 1 overall, and they got their quarterback, and the jury is still out whether that quarterback, Bryce Young, is going to be their franchise quarterback.
Yep. It's funny for those 1st-round quarterbacks. Are they meeting their potential, meeting the expectation, or does it take them a while to get to that level? Because there's so much that happens, and there's so much pressure that is put on a guy who's in the first couple picks. I mean, we saw the pressure that was on Trey Lance when he was here with the 49ers as a 3rd-round pick. So I can imagine it's even more so for the first.
Oh, and going back to your question, do I remember where I was? Yes, I do remember. You and I were like on the phone, like, when can we record an emergency podcast? I believe that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
We
always.
So, the 49ers got their guy, and he is, I would say he's the face of the organization, but he's in a lot of ways the face of the offense. We saw, how much better they are when Christian McCaffrey is on the field. Last season he was on the field but 4 games, And the 49ers did a lot of losing without Christian McCaffrey.
They sure did.
And this year he's back, and it's kind of remarkable. You want to hear about the worst fantasy advice I've ever given anybody?
To not pick Christian McCaffrey this year?
Well, the Thursday before the start of the regular season, he ends up on the injury report, and all panic is setting out. And Friday he doesn't practice. And it's like, what's going on with Christian McCaffrey and coming off of last season? And a buddy of mine was like, what do you think about McCaffrey? And I was like, I don't know. When are you picking? Maybe just let somebody else pick him.
Yeah.
Because is this going to be something that's going to be a weekly thing like it was in the 2024 season?
Right.
And, his yards per rushing attempt aren't real high. But that's the only thing that's not real high. I mean, he does everything. And he's on pace for another 1,000 season, which would make him the second 1,000 or the only player in NFL history to have 2,000 seasons, joining Roger Craig, who hopefully this year will be in 2026 will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We'll see. And also Marshall Faulk. So you want to hear a little Christian McCaffrey?
Absolutely.
So, you know how I'm not sure if when you were doing it, when you first started covering this team, did they have a conference call with a player from the other team and a coach from the other team?
Yes.
That was in the very first few years. So that hasn't been a thing now for a while. Well, the Carolina media wanted to get McCaffrey on a call, and something that he is certainly not obligated to do. And so he agreed to do it. And so he did a Zoom call with the Carolina media, which I think speaks to the mutual respect, right? Those people who traded McCaffrey, the people who, ran him out of town, if we're going to be overly dramatic, they're not there anymore. But I'm sure he forged a lot of great lasting relationships there. It was his first NFL home. It was, 1,000 season. He was a really good player there. Heck, he might end up in their Ring of Honor. So it was a kind of a neat gesture, I think, for him to agree to speak to the Carolina media this week leading into this huge Monday night game.
Yeah. When he spoke to the media at his locker on Thursday, he tried to not make it bigger than it was. Like, you could tell that he was like, no, every game's big, and as it should be, and try not to put too much importance on, the revenge game. But then when someone asked him, who do you still know on the team? There are a lot of people that he spoke very highly of that still impact him, that impacted him a lot when he first got into the league. So he definitely has emotional ties to Carolina because it was his first team, and it wasn't like it was a horrible situation where he didn't get along with people. It was just, it didn't work out at, towards the end of it. I mean,
I think it worked out.
Yeah.
So they just traded him.
Yeah. Right. So,
I don't think there was any, I
don't think there's animosity.
No. And it wasn't like he was asking for a trade,
right?
Or anything like that. Or it wasn't like he wore out his welcome.
Correct.
And they had to get rid of him. They didn't have to get rid of him. And in fact, I think they were telling him all the way up to that point, like, we're not trading you.
Right.
And
I remember him saying he was surprised when it happened.
And then it was like, no, we're not trading you. We're not trading you. We're not trading you. Oh, by the way, we just traded you. Yeah. So I think he saw this. I mean, after the initial shock of finding out he was traded, when he was told all along he wasn't going to be traded, and once he found out he was coming here and was going to be in this organization, in this offense, there was a lot of excitement there. Right. But at the same time, somewhere deep inside him, there's that slow burn of, why did they want to get rid of me?
Yeah. I mean, because ultimately it is rejection, right? It's like, we're going to give you away. There's not that, no, there's no way we're letting go of you. So there's somewhere in there, it was like, it's saying, you're not enough for us to keep you, or there's something better out there.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get all these picks, that type of thing. I mean, you can read it however, so many different ways, but I'm sure there is some form of rejection in there.
Yeah. It's also, it took them 4 picks, in return.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different ways. You basically read into it whatever you want to read into it.
Mm-hmm. Like
right?
You can say, yes, I was highly valued because it took 4 picks for me to go, or you can say, why didn't you keep me all?
Yeah,
to begin with,
or you can say, yeah, like you think that you're going to be a better team
mm-hmm.
without me.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I do know one thing: 49ers are a better team with Christian McCaffrey.
Yes. And that was 2024 is complete evidence of the fact that they are not as good without him on the field.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So,
and they've had good running backs. I mean, I remember you always run through the list of how many running backs were their top yardage gainers since Kyle Shanahan got to Santa Clara, and it was a different one every single year until Christian McCaffrey landed in Santa Clara, except for 2024 because he wasn't there. But I mean, the way the offense has changed with him out there and how much more productive they are, it's a huge difference.
And I guess the same could be said with, the 49ers have always had a good offense. I was going to try to segue that into Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
The offense looked good in Brock Purdy's first game, 41 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's a season high, and McCaffrey, big part of that. And now, Brock Purdy looks like he's back. Not on the injury report,
Mm-hmm.
full practice on
Right.
Thursday after
Mm-hmm.
making it through the game against the Cardinals healthy. And, now with, McCaffrey on the field and Kittle and the wide receivers are getting healthy and Purdy, the offensive line is looking healthy.
And I think you'll see Christian McCaffrey's yards per carry go up because more of the offensive pieces are healthy and they're all out there together.
And they're going to have to, because now the
Mm-hmm.
question is about the defense. But,
right.
Some things about Purdy that kind of stood out, I think, is just how the operation, and again, no disrespect, no knock on Mac Jones, but Brock Purdy has been here. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he sees it the same way that Kyle Shanahan sees it. And, some of the operational stuff, the pre-snap stuff, the getting into the right play,
yes,
all that stuff, it's impossible to measure, but you saw it and learned about it.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it on Sunday against the Cardinals, right. And then you learn more about it after the game when you find out all the nuances that made each of those plays work.
Christian McCaffrey told us about that pass where he went out to the left side of the field and caught the touchdown pass, and George Kittle had that kind of pick in the middle, and he said it was not part of the play. It was unwritten. It was just 2 guys playing ball out on the field. And I asked him, how often does that happen where you and the quarterback are on that same page and you kind of have this understanding that you're going to find each other? And he says it doesn't happen often, but it's not a super rare thing, but it is nice to have when you're out there just trying to, score a touchdown, because that play, when you see Christian McCaffrey all by himself on the left side and just walks into the end zone for a touchdown, you're like, how does that happen? Because it wasn't part of the offense, but just those two knowing the timing and knowing each other is how it works out on the field.
Yeah. There's so many times when, people will look at a certain play and go, oh my gosh, why didn't the quarterback see that guy wide open? And, I've been told that if a quarterback sees everything, he sees nothing. Because there's too much to see, and you can't just like go back there and not have any idea what you're looking at and like, oh, find the open guy. I mean, and so you gotta, as a quarterback, you have to know what you're looking for based on all the variables, based on the play call, the offense, or what the defense is doing and all that. But I will say that Purdy has a really good ability to see what he needs to see, or to put it in other terms, if a receiver gets open, he's going to find you whether his eyes should be in another place or whatever. I mean, I just remember some of those plays, like with George Kittle breaking off his route and just running down the field with his hand open or hand up in the air, and Purdy seeing him. So those are the kinds of things that, don't show up in the stat sheet other than the touchdown pass, but stuff that, that's part of the reason I think why everybody in the building will always speak so highly of Brock Purdy is because of that stuff that nobody else knows what's going on, but they know.
Right. He's able to ad lib and yet find guys, and he's not the tallest guy. He's not the tallest quarterback. So for him to have a feel, I think there's a lot of that too, knowing where the tendencies of his targets are. Like George Kittle will find a soft spot over here, or he tends to find it over here. They know each other so well, and he has a recollection of where those opportunities can happen. Also knowing, because of he knows the defense and what they're planning on to do, it gives Brock Purdy on the offense so many more options to be able to move the ball down the field.
Must-win game for the 49ers on Monday?
Every game's a must-win game.
Everyone's a must-win.
I mean, like we talked about it, this stretch of games where it's teams that they don't have a losing record anymore. Carolina doesn't, but it should be a team that they can beat. There are teams that are going to come up that maybe, every team is beatable, but there are teams that are less likely. This is kind of that during the stretch where they really should have a good performance. I mean, I know it's going to be a challenge on the defensive side, but it's an opportunity and they need to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I would think if you look at this game, the Browns game, and the Tennessee Titans game,
right?
Like those are 3 games they should win. And if they don't win one of those, they have to pick up a win somewhere else. I think it's going to be difficult to go to Indianapolis and win. It's going to be difficult, everything being equal, to beat the Seahawks. Again, those are 2 games where they can definitely win those games, but it's just going to be
more challenging.
More challenging. And then that other game, the Sunday night game against the Bears, that's probably a game that they should win. I kind of put that a little bit in the same mold as this game against Carolina, maybe a little bit more difficult. But, now when you start looking at their schedule and you go, okay, they have 7 wins, 4 losses, 3 more victories, puts them in really good shape for a postseason.
But if they lose one, they're definitely not in as good a shape. I think this is where like every game counts obviously all games count, but this is really where you earn a spot into the playoffs or lose a spot.
Yeah. So the Carolina Panthers come to town, and I think, they're exceeding, their win total or what people thought they would do. Bryce Young is starting to show a little something. Is he their franchise guy? I don't know that anybody knows that yet. They have a really good rookie receiver with McMillan, who talked to Deommodore Lenoir coming up here on the 49ers Talk podcast. So that'll be a good matchup. And considering what the Arizona Cardinals passing game did against the 49ers, now I know some of that was they had a big lead. They could play soft coverage, give up the easy pitch and catch. Jacoby Brissett, a NFL regular season record of 47 pass completions for 452 yards and
488 total yards of offense. They stopped the run.
Yeah. And then Bryce Young's coming off his career best game by a long way, and the best game as far as passing yards in Panthers franchise history. So if they don't affect him, if they allow him to just sit in the pocket and make throws at every level length, then it's going to be a long day for the 49ers defense.
Yep. And the pass rush has not been this defense's strong point. It's been a little bit of a challenge. I think it will get better with Bryce Huff being, healthier, because he was coming back from a hamstring injury. I think that helps, but I still think that it's been a little bit more of a challenge without Nick Bosa out there.
And well, the 49ers rank 32nd in the league. How many teams are there in the NFL?
32.
Yeah, they rank 32nd in the league in sacks. Only 12 sacks in 11 games. 12 sacks total in 11 games.
I think isn't there a player that has 12 sacks himself?
Oh, yeah, I think there might be a couple players who have in the league that have as many sacks as the 49ers do as a team.
Yeah. But yes, and I know that that's a huge number that everybody follows, but also if they're getting pressure enough on the quarterback that maybe doesn't cause a sack, but causes an errant throw, which causes a turnover, I'm sure Kyle Shanahan would take that as well.
Absolutely. See, that's the thing. Like that game against the Cardinals, I was kind of like, I didn't know what to think because the pass defense did generate 3 takeaways.
Right.
The 2 interceptions, Mustafa, Lenoir, and then the punch out from Upton Stout at the 1-yard line. 49ers recover that. Keon White recovered that. So 3 takeaways, but then all those yards, 22 points, you can live with that. So I'd say all in all, everything being equal, the pass defense did probably more good than it did bad,
right,
when you consider the takeaways in that game against the Cardinals.
Absolutely. I mean, because that was where they weren't getting anything, right? No takeaways for quite a long time, and no multiple takeaways in a single game since 2024.
Not good.
No.
All right, so let's step aside. Let's pay some bills, and then when we come back, you and I will chat kicker.
Yeah.
Should we leave the kicker conversation to the very end? Have that be our kicker? Yeah.
Oh, we're all.
Maybe. Yeah. And we'll also hear from Deommodore Lenoir. All right, we're back on 49ers Talk, brought to you by Toyota, class-leading MPG and more hybrid models than any other brand. Toyota, let's go places. Well, since we did that setup with the kicker, let's use that as the kicker.
Okay.
Here's my conversation with Deommodore Lenoir. All right, joined by Deommodore Lenoir on 49ers Talk. Deommodore, the last time I think we got together was shortly after you signed your contract, right around a year ago. Yeah. So how has your life changed since then?
I noticed that I'm in the light a lot more. I gotta talk, speak to the media a lot. It's been crazy. Everything that I dreamed of.
And also, by signing that contract, it signaled to everybody you were going to be around a while. Yeah. And you're named a team captain heading into this year. So yes, what was that like to get that word that you were going to be a captain?
It was a blessing. Just to know that my peers looked at me, as a captain, a leader of the team, it felt like I was doing everything right. It just mean everything to me, to be able to lead this team, go out and play on Sundays, it's truly a blessing.
What does it mean to you to be a captain? What do you try to do as a captain that maybe you didn't do in the past?
Utilizing my voice, I felt like I wasn't as vocal, being just because I was the new guy on team, still trying to establish my name and trying to make plays, I felt like I didn't have a voice, because it's, when you're a rookie, you come in, you don't want to be like, well, for me, I wasn't the type to, to be talking all the time. I kind of like made my way, try to like earn a name. I wanted to earn a good name before, I started making, rules and orders and stuff.
As a leader, like, how do you view that role? I mean, you said you're more vocal, but what else goes along with that? I know you've always kind of been a lead by example guy. Yeah. That probably remains the same. So how has it enabled you to take that next step, you think?
Just bringing guys along, helping the rookies out, because I know, within your first rookie year, you hit a kind of a rookie slump. It's like something that's hard to get over. You trying to figure out how to navigate your life and navigate the time, and just really just showing them, how to be a pro.
God, it seems like such a long time ago, doesn't it? I mean, it was 2021, you're a rookie. I remember you started that season off, you're playing a lot, and then you kind of...
Yeah, I hit that rookie slump, and then I hit that rookie wall. It was something I had to overcome, really with just looking myself within, starting within first. Just not making excuses on why I'm not playing, and just, putting in the effort to be, to be one of them guys on film that like, oh, we have to play this guy.
Was there a point where things switched for you, you think, where your eyes kind of opened and you realized that you could play this game at the highest possible level?
Yeah, it was after my first year, that off season, because I didn't really play. Well, I played the first 5 games, I would say. And then I sat down for like the rest of the year. So it was like when I had moved to Arizona that off season, and I was just looking at my film and then seeing where I can get better at, trying to learn the scheme, just picking up on little things that I felt like could have enhanced my game when I was playing, So I kind of like took that time and like viewed and looked at myself within, like, oh, maybe I'm not working harder. Like maybe I got to be harder on myself here, and that's kind of just the approach I took.
You guys have so many young players on defense, a lot of rookies. Is that something where you can help them because you've gone through that and it wasn't easy always.
For sure. Yeah. We me and Upton, we kind of talk about that stuff like all the time. He asked me like how my leverage was and when I was playing nickel and what certain routes you looking for and just kind of coaching him through that, and he picks up pretty fast. So like I know once it started clicking for him that he's going to be a dangerous player out there.
I know that when you came into the league, one of your mentors was Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Do you guys still stay in contact? And
for sure. Yeah. I mean, not as much, but every time we see each other, we still, communicate. Or if he's watching film or he sees something in the game that I did, he'll reach out to me. So we always, we still locked in.
He always talks you up.
Yeah, for sure.
And does that give you confidence? Do you think that he's helped you get to the level where now people around the league are talking about you too?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because he was like one of the first person to take notice and actually like really publicize like what I was doing. Just being on the team, full of stars. We had Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. We had all these stars, Tyler Nohu, we had all these guys, and he like singled me out because like I wasn't getting no love for real, but I was just kind of working in silence.
Do you think you're still working in silence a little bit?
A little bit. It feels like it, because I don't get a lot of action, and then around the league, they got the guys who they like, so I don't feel like I'm, like one of those guys yet.
Okay.
So I'm still,
So
still working.
You got a Monday night game.
Yeah.
And it's a national television audience. Carolina has a rookie wide receiver, 8th overall pick that they're going to be talking about a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Tyrell McMillan. You're going to be on him a lot. Do you kind of take that challenge? I mean, have you thought about that now this is a real opportunity to take your game to an even higher level?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always up for the challenge, but every time I get my hopes there and then the game day shows and then it's a totally different game plan for the other team. But if I am, I'm proudly accept that challenge. I love, playing football, playing ball, being challenged, that's who I am.
So when you say that, total different game plan, you're talking about teams not throwing your way?
Yeah. And then like their receiver or their guy goes to the other side and, I don't see him as much.
You don't back down from a challenge. You like to stir it up a little bit too. When did that start? Like, how does that fuel you when you start talking trash?
Yeah, I feel like it brings out the best of both players. Like I want to see guys at their best. Like I want your best. So like at the end of the game, it ain't no excuses. Oh, I was hurt a little bit. None of that. It's mano y mano. 100% when we both healthy. Like I ain't gonna tell you about no injury I got. It don't even matter. We gonna play.
Do you have a favorite player in the NFL you like to challenge, and that you can sense that person either you get under that person's skin or it's a good back and forth?
I ain't really got that back and forth yet, from somebody. I mean, yeah, I haven't really got that back and forth yet with anybody yet.
Do you feel like there's a receiver either in the division or out of the division that there's a good, maybe not the trash talking, but a really good competition between you and him?
Receiver wise, I mean,
put it this way: when the schedule comes out and you look at your schedule, the 17 games, are there certain teams where you just look at and go, "Oh, I can't wait for that week"?
Oh yeah, I mean like the Rams week, because I'm going against probably the 2 best receivers in the division. Yeah, just be the Rams. I mean, years ago, we had like Minnesota, Justin Jefferson, we had Jamar Chase, but it's like, we had some good groups this year, but I feel like it wasn't like nothing in what I have seen already. Like,
I think it was it 2022 when you scrimmaged against the Vikings?
yeah,
And that was the first time I think I looked across the field and saw you and thought, holy cow, this guy's made a major improvement, because you had a really good practice session against Justin Jefferson and those guys.
That was the first time that I really had like a back and forth, with somebody, so I feel like, that kind of shaped me into like, oh yeah, you ready for this. Like, you just got to continue to keep doing what you're doing and keep your head down and keep working.
One of the things you've said in the past is that you didn't think you would get that recognition until you started getting your hands on the football. And, And you've gotten that a couple times this year. What's more out there for you as far as generating interceptions?
Generating interceptions, I would just say, just being able to, if I get a target, like, if they target me, then I feel like it's way more opportunities for me to make plays on the ball. I feel like teams don't target me, or like they'll do like something quick, and then I wouldn't see them all the way until the fourth quarter when we up 20 points, and then they'll keep throwing quick routes. So then it'll be like, it's kind of, it's like, it's not hurting us, but like at the same time, I don't like giving up leaky yardage. So, I kind of like getting down there challenging people.
That game, this last game against the Cardinals, you had an interception and a 64-yard return that Next Gen Stats had you listed as running a total of 111.7 yards.
Yeah.
So a lot of running to get those 64 yards. So take us through that play, and what were you feeling at the end of that return?
Oh yeah. So we was in cover 4, and then the Cardinals, they ran like one of their core seam routes. Like, it's a 2x2. They lined up in 2x2 and they went seams. From the indicator tape, that Coach Bullock's be putting together for us, it was FIB when they motion from the boundary. Then you will see it, and they go 2x2. That you get seams as their like number one route. So that's kind of what I was playing in my head. So then once I seen our rush getting after the quarterback, he kind of scrambled out. Then I was like, I seen my number one receiver, he was like creeping on the sideline. He was waiting for like one of them bailout throws. So then I kind of like waited for him, because I wanted the quarterback to think that I was still going to play it deep. Then once I seen him release the ball, I had broken the ball and was able to catch it.
Is that a play you could have made as a rookie?
See, as a rookie, it was going so fast. I don't think I would have tied into it being like formation in the boundary. Like, I would just probably would have had to align 2x2 for me in my rookie year, because I felt like that was like really kind of like a vet, kind of seeing that whole formation, that FIB, knowing, what I studied and just actually believing in it.
Yeah. So Monday night, you'll be wearing your cleats, My Cause, My Cleats,
yes,
in front of a national television audience. Tell me about that.
The cleats is based on it's for my little sister. She has Down syndrome.
What's her name?
Kalia Lenoir. It's something that I did to, to support her and support, everyone with Down syndrome, to show that they can believe in themselves. It's just, something that's on my heart for her.
Awesome. One last thing, just for the rest of the season, what is this team capable of, and how big of a game is this coming up on Monday for you guys?
Yeah, this is a big game for us. Nevertheless, that it's at home, but this can possibly, keep building the chemistry of our team. I feel like, we can really do something. Everyone just got to believe, and we got to have that will. Keep having that will to win. Like, I feel like this whole season for us has been that will to win. With all the injuries we didn't face, all the obstacles we didn't went through, all the adversity, we still finding a way. So I feel like this team can be, as good as we take it, whether that's to the playoffs or whether that's to the Super Bowl.
All right. Captain Deommodore Lenoir, thanks so much.
Appreciate you.
Jennifer, do you think...
Maddie.
Yes. Do you think Deommodore Lenoir gets as much national attention as he deserves? Do you think? I mean, I guess that's a tough question, because you're not the national,
right.
like.
I think there would be more conversation if he was generating more pass breakups and more turnovers.
Yeah, he's got the 2 interceptions now.
Right.
So that's a good starting spot.
But everybody was talking about Charvarius Ward when he was leading the league in pass breakups. It doesn't necessarily need to be interceptions. I remember he was saying, I need to have these be interceptions and not just pass breakups. I think part of it is Charvarius Ward is also following the top receiver, and right now Deommodore Lenoir is staying on one side, so he doesn't see targets as often.
Well, that's what Lenoir will say. Demo will say, well,
I'm not getting targeted.
I want more opportunities. Teams are avoiding me.
Right. And I understand that. So I remember talking to him at the beginning of the season, and he said, I want to follow. He's like, I'd much rather follow. He's like, I don't just run sprints every single play and then come back. But it's part of what Robert Saleh wants, and so he's the defensive coordinator.
It's kind of a tricky situation too. I think whenever you have a defensive coordinator that has one cornerback follow or shadow the other team's top receiver, you're basically telling everybody on your team, we don't think our other cornerback is good enough. And so, there was a point early in the season, I forget who the 49ers were playing, but I know that question was asked me, hey, do you think they'll have Lenoir follow so-and-so? And I was like, I don't know if you want to, this early in the season, send that message to Renardo Green that we don't think you can do it. So I don't know if that time will come. I would say when Charvarius Ward was doing that, Lenoir wasn't the player that he is now.
Right.
So it'll be, I don't know if they'll do that, but Lenoir is a very confident guy. He likes to stir it up a little bit. He does. He likes a challenge, as he said there in our interview. And so I don't know, maybe at some point, I don't know if this would be that week. I mean, he's given up a lot of height. McMillan's like 6'5", 215, 20 pounds. I mean, he's a big guy, target for Bryce Young.
I remember when we were at the NFL Combine covering it, that a lot of talk was about Teddy McMillan and whether the 49ers would go after a wide receiver again in the first round. We decided that they probably wouldn't.
We decided that?
Well, we didn't. We figured that they probably wouldn't because they just took Ricky Pearsall the week before. We didn't decide. We just discussed the fact that they probably wouldn't take a wide receiver 2 years in a row. But I remember all the national media talking about Teddy McMillan and how talented he was and how strong his hands are and running great routes. And he was definitely pursued a lot by several teams. And Kyle Shanahan said, they really liked him coming out, but they weren't going to dip their toe in that water.
Well, I mean, he was taken number 8, so they never had a chance. But even if he were there at number 11, kind of hard to believe they would have.
Right. Yeah.
So, okay. So now it's time. I can't believe we're waiting this long to talk about Matt Gay, the newest kicker in town for the 49ers. As Eddie Pinheiro is out for at least a couple of weeks. Probably won't be back until the bye week. Or after the bye week, I should say. Okay, so the 49ers injury report, kind of the same thing. Tatum Bethune, he has a high ankle sprain. He will probably return on a similar timeline as Eddie Pinheiro after the bye week.
I saw Tatum Bethune in the locker room with the walking boots still on, but he was putting weight on the foot, so that's a good sign. It's not like he's in a knee scooter like Fred Warner, but definitely being careful with it. I kind of chatted with him, and he said he's just babying it right now, and they'll see how it goes.
And so that means Curtis Robinson will be stepping into the middle linebacker spot.
Yep.
It seemed like Nick Martin made a fairly good impression. 14 plays against the Cardinals in mop-up time, stepping in there for D. Winters. And I know Kyle Shanahan said that he blew one assignment, but he said that 13 of his 14 snaps were good. I just wonder if there's a way to get him on the field a little bit more. I have an idea.
Yeah,
I'll take this. I'll run this one up the flagpole.
All
I
right.
think he can be a decent pass rusher. He's a smaller guy, but he's great quickness off the edge. He had 6 sacks his next to last season at Oklahoma State. And there was one play where he lined up at basically right outside linebacker and rushed the quarterback. I would think that because they have such a difficult time finding pass rushers.
Yeah, they definitely do.
And they've tried, like Robert Beal Now he's in the concussion protocol. I just wonder if maybe for a few snaps a game, maybe a dozen snaps on third downs, get him out there and just see. And then, because he's a linebacker, he also has the versatility of being able to drop into coverage and maybe somebody else, come, whether it's Robinson or D Winters, coming on a blitz or something of that nature, or Upton Stout out of the slot. So I don't know. I wonder if there's an opportunity. I believe at this point that they have to kind of consider a lot of different things. They have to think outside the box. They have to figure out some stuff out, because what they're doing right now isn't necessarily working.
And he was a third-round pick, and you want to get your higher picks on the field to get them more reps so that they'll have game experience going into their second year. You don't want to have Nick Martin sit on the bench or only do special teams plays when you know you're going to want him to work him in eventually. I mean, he's going to be their linebacker of the future, so they've got to get him right. So they've got to get him some reps on defense throughout the rest of the season.
Okay, so let's see. We need to talk more about the kicker, Matt Gay.
He played against the Niners and kind of was a huge part in the 49ers not going to the Super Bowl, kicking 2 field goals in 2021 in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Yeah.
And then he signed, I think, a big money deal or bigger money deal with Indianapolis, but didn't do so well. So it's kind of funny, isn't it? This whole kicker carousel, if you will.
Because you know who's teammates with Deebo Samuel again?
That would be Mr. Jake Moody.
Yeah.
And so let's see here. Jake Moody punched his ticket out of Santa Clara after week 1. Eddie Pinheiro steps in and takes over and hasn't missed a field goal, although 4 extra points have not gone through the uprights. But he did very well, but then he hurt his hamstring in the game against the Cardinals. So then Moody goes to the Bears and kicks in a couple of games there while Cairo Santos was injured. He was on the practice squad. And then the Washington Commanders, Adam Peters, who was around when the 49ers drafted Jake Moody, says, Matt Gay, you've missed too many kicks. You're gone. They bring in Moody. And so Gay becomes a free agent, and the 49ers bring him in. He has a tryout with 4 other kickers, and Matt Gay gets signed to the 49ers practice squad. 49ers release Russell Gage Jr., the wide receiver, to create room for Gay on the practice squad. And so basically, they didn't want to devote a spot on the 53-man roster to a kicker when they're not putting Pinheiro on injured reserve. So they'll just elevate Gay for as many games as they need him. And then once Pinheiro is back, they'll say, thank you, Matt Gay.
And you know what? They're going to say the bye came at the perfect time. Because Matt Gay can get promoted to on game days for this week and next week. Then they have the bye week. And then I'm sure they hope that at that point, Eddie Pinheiro is healthy, because if they can't elevate him 3 times.
I think they can elevate 3. I think just not 4.
Oh,
I thought
it was 2. Okay.
It's 2. Well, either way. Yeah. And then at that point, they could even, if they get into a bind, they could just keep him on the practice squad if something happens with Pinheiro, and then bring him to the 53-man. That's the other one. Oh, Jalen Graham will probably be promoted or not promoted, but elevated from the practice squad with the injury to Tatum Bethune. And those are the only 2 injuries. Oh, and I mentioned Robert Beals in the concussion protocol. But, when the 49ers return to practice on Thursday to get ready for Carolina, probably the best news was that Brock Purdy's name was not at all on the injury report. Full go in practice.
Absolutely. And just watching him out there, he seems like Brock Purdy, and that's what everybody said. He's running like Brock Purdy, throwing like Brock Purdy, and he's got command of the locker room. And when we spoke to him before the game and after the game, it's Brock Purdy. I did see him on the sidelines doing his whole family kind of family time
in
Arizona, mom, dad, sister, wife, and baby. I met Millie, who's got the hugest cheeks, but when he does the pictures with the family, and then that split second when he turns around and he turns into Brock Purdy quarterback, I watched it again, and it made me think of your video of when he turns around and he's just stone-faced. Yeah, all about the business when that happens.
All about the business. Well, Free Irons will be trying to give the Carolina Panthers the business on Monday night. Don't get any ideas, Carolina Panthers. That's what the Free Irons are saying. Like,
okay.
No, there's what are they? They're down. They're outside the playoff race. But I'm curious to see how this game turns out, because my question is, can the 49ers play like a team that's desperate? Because it almost feels like every other week they play that way. And I guess you just look at the results, knowing that they haven't strung together 2 wins in a row since week 3. Since week 3, and they haven't lost 2 in a row the whole season. So,
who is this team?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Will we find out?
I don't know.
Some point, right?
At some point,
point we'll find out. I don't know. Will it be Monday night?
Week 12, and
week 12.
We're not quite sure what this team is capable of yet.
Yeah, I still think they're certainly capable of being a playoff team.
They're kind of scrappy when they want to be.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would say the adjectives at times to describe the defense is just take the S off of that word that you said. I don't know if we're going to be honest here.
Yeah.
So can they be a team?
That's not
that word. Yeah. Can they kind of put it together? And, Shanahan, he speaks like highly, or it sounds like publicly he has a lot of confidence in the defense to turn it around.
Yeah. One thing that, looking at Curtis Robinson, who's taking over for Tatum Bethune, is that Curtis Robinson has been with the team for a while.
So he knows what he's doing.
He absolutely knows what he's doing. There's going to be obviously some acclimation to being the Mike linebacker and calling out everything, but he did it for 2 years at Stanford. And he said, he's got a lot of time with the players. And I think it's better than, he's in a better situation than Fred Warner when he first took over. When you're a rookie, I think it's harder to be the director of traffic when you're on the field and to have a voice, right? You're the youngest player on the field with guys who are 29, 30 years old, and you're 21. I think it's difficult. Curtis Robinson's a little bit older. He has experience. He knows the guys that are out there. I think it's going to be easier for him to have his voice and communicate all the calls to the defense.
All right. 49ers, Carolina Panthers. You'll be out here at Levi Stadium on Monday night. And I'll be back in the studio with 49ers pre- and post-game show. And then we'll have another 49ers Talk podcast coming up with the 49ers game plan interview with Kyle Shanahan. But hope you enjoyed this 49ers Talk. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the 49ers Talk podcast, leave a rating and a review. That helps build the community of 49ers Talk. It helps expose other 49er fans around the globe. Gets in the algorithm of what podcasts they should be looking for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. That's it for now.